say something awesome. I would say in general, the Wi-Fi's worked better this semester than it's worked historically.
I'd agree with that.
Well, it's not saying a whole lot. I'm just saying, give credit where credit's due.
The person that was attacking us probably graduated. So who
lost interest.
graduated last year had a grudge against Concordia?
Oh, I don't know.
Did Voltage graduate last year?
Voltage, yeah, he did. I think Voltage, I don't think he had a grudge. We saved his life. It was right there. Right,
and then you made fun of him for the rest of the time you had him in your class.
Were any of you in that class? Man, that was awesome. Man, he went from normal to blue so quick. And he seized out. Have you even heard about this? Oh, the guy's name is Josh Zielinski. He graduated last year. I always called him Voltage, because he used to drink these energy drinks in class. Must have drank too many energy drinks because he started having seizure problems. Sitting in class, he was sitting right in the front row, and all of a sudden, dude just locked up. Started like swallowing his own tongue. Was on the ground, like dark blue color, just immediately. I mean, I thought he was dead. Like, I seriously thought he was dead.
Did you guys just watch or you do anything?
No, we had another student here knew what to do and basically, fixed them. We went down and got campus safety, who like took their time to get here with him oxygen. I mean, he would have been dead by the time they got here. But he ended up, and he had been having issues with these a couple times. So he was lying to the paramedics, but he was out of it. They were asking him, like, have you had a seizure before? He's like, no. Well, he had been telling us in class for like 3 weeks that he's been having regular seizures. So he either wasn't being honest or he wasn't with it. Probably the second, but yeah. So we learned a lot. Well, actually, what happened is while the other guy was saving him, we Googled how to get this guy to stop swallowing his tongue.
Stick your wallet.
Huh?
You stick your wallet in their mouth.
Stick your wallet in their mouth?
That's to prevent them from grinding on their teeth.
Well, it's also to prevent them from swallowing.
Well, you guys know all that. It's like we go to a lot of rave parties. What did he say?
He said Fallout.
I go to a whole lot of rave parties, and sometimes the candy isn't candy.
It's never candy.
It acts like candy. It's colorful.
Oh, it makes it colorful.
Are you guys familiar with this subculture known as candy ravers with a K? Kandy.
Sounds like a good hooker name.
Apparently, people they make these pieces of candy, like little circular things that I know what you're thinking, but they take it and make it into art. So they make like scarves and right. So I mean, they make like face masks and hats and stuff like that.
Is that, or is it just like for wearing, or what's the?
Apparently, there's this they don't even sell it. Apparently, there's a subculture of trading. So these people go to these raves, and they bring with them their candy art, and then they trade. It's like baseball cards, but for, for candy freak shows or something. I don't know.
How was your last experience with this?
No, I have a consulting client who wants to write an app for these people to help them support trading candy art.
He must be doing well in it.
He owns like a t-shirt business in Miami, and he pays some candy artists to make these face masks that he sells on his site. But now he wants to. Apparently, he makes stuff, the t-shirts and stuff like that for all these ravers. I guess ravers need rave t-shirts. Is that a thing? It's a thing, right? I'm not a.
They wear t-shirts.
I don't know. I'm not a. I know you probably assume I was, but I'm not a big rave party person.
Really?
I would assume they're there every night.
Not my scene. Mostly it's because the bathrooms aren't roomy enough. But
I don't think that's
they
the biggest
refuse to
concern with
check
the bathrooms at a rave, okay?
Do they refuse to check your portable tools?
they won't let me in with my weaponry.
For some reason, I think that's the least of their concerns.
Yeah. So in any case, isn't that like weird that that culture, like, none of you have heard of this culture? Because I mean, some of you in here have heard of really strange things, like saving somebody's life by shoving their wallet in their mouth.
Well, I
You
do
know
that
about
for
that,
sure.
but you don't know
I mean,
about.
that's like in movies. And
I've been
stuff.
putting leather in somebody's
Never
mouth for
heard
a
of
whole
it.
bunch of reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm guessing it's like a down south.
Could be, or possibly just a Miami thing.
Yeah.
So the reality is we're assuming that there's something else in the candy, but realistically, that candy probably doesn't have anything. They make the candy too.
Maybe
Yeah,
too
no,
expensive.
there's probably nothing in the candy.
Nothing in that candy, but some other candy that they're
Yeah,
eating is.
you don't
causing-
the candy that you want to take. That would be.
I gotcha.
That's the whole idea behind they're giving out drugs for Halloween. No, they're not. Drugs are expensive. They don't just give them out for free.
I mean,
RaversSwag.com sells candy masks.
Yeah.
Is that your client site?
Candy with an
Oh, it's candy with an I. Kandi.
Oh, it's pretty inappropriate.
Oh, is it?
Some of them are.
I mean, I don't know anything about this. Just that he wants to pay me to write this app for him and teach him how to. Well, I'm just gonna consult and tell him what to do, and I'll write some of it, and then he can go and do it on his own. What do I care? All right. So, in any case, so we were working on the iPhone side of it last time, right? And we are storing our details about our roles. Okay, so and we decided that it might be a good idea, given this, that we could create actually a table view in here. Have a table view inside of a table view row, which seems creepy, but that might be kind of cool. All right, so I'm going to kind of teach you a trick for doing this, assuming this works. But this is a viable trick, anyways, for embedding stuff within your applications. So the idea is we've already created one table view here, right? And we've called it main TVC. So inside of this guy, we have all of our table view stuff for number of sections, a number of rows in section, and we didn't uncomment it here, but here's the, let's see, where is it? Did select row at index path. It's one of these dudes down here. There's move row, can move row. Gotta be in here somewhere. Well, in any case, there's a did select row and index path, which is equivalent to the one we have over on the watch side for when you click on one of the rows, do something. Same dealy. All right. So now in this case, for every single one of our UITableView cells, we potentially are going to have a table view. And each of those table views is governed by one of these guys over here. Does that make sense? So, but did I just get a post of one of these pictures?
All I said is do not Google candy masks awesome fat. Horrible things come up.
now I'm curious.
All right, so an issue here is, and this kind of comes down to code organization, is we could certainly teach this one main TVC how to handle all of these different table views. Do we have to have a quiz, children?
No, but he's right.
I pretty much assumed he was. All right, so in any case, we could certainly have our, because notice here that when number of sections in table view gets called, or when number of rows in section gets called, it passes in the particular table view that called it. All right, so if I have this screen, our plan is, as it is right now, to have 5 different table views on this screen, right? The main table view that's governing the entire thing, and then a table view for this set of roles, a table view for this set of roles, a table view for this set of roles, and a table view for this set of roles. And then every single time I make a new role from the watch, it's going to get worse, right? Okay, so realistically, we probably want to create another class that becomes the code behind for each of those table views. That make sense? Let me see what. Let me see.
It's bad. It's bad.
Here,
It's not safe for work.
Things to not Google
Make sure
while
you
at
anchor
church.
on this camera, by the way.
Things to not Google while at church.
Internet launch it though.
I can't read it. What's funny about it?
This is just what's going on.
Oh, I thought there was gonna be pictures and stuff.
Oh, I'm scared to go to images.
Just don't go to Bing.
When Bing does a deep Wolfram Alpha search, you have no idea what came up.
That's serious. See what
Yeah, see, I expected it to be like, I mean, that's just random responses from search engines when it doesn't know what to do and it just assumes it's porn. It's like, I don't know what you're searching for. This sounds made up, but it's probably this.
the default.
All right. So in any case, we certainly wouldn't want to have a single table view controller being the manager for a potentially infinite number of table views, right? Yeah.
I'm just wondering what you think your ads are going to be now that you mentioned porn.
I guess we'll find out. Revenue can only go up from where it's at now. I think last month Google charged me a penny for a processing fee.
Bing has no issues with naughty search results. It's just Google.
Oh yeah, Bing is way better for naughty search results.
No, but
Did
there's
you
not
learn
a
it?
single-
Did you learn about that in Fallout as well?
Obviously.
Did you skip my class this morning?
What's that?
Did you skip my class this morning?
I was here. I'm pretty sure.
I did a quiz. So I did a quiz and I remember recording a 0.
No, I'm pretty sure I got a 100 on that one. Sure you didn't record it?
I'm pretty positive, actually. Is this a Fallout related miss?
No, just I overslept.
Because of
Playing
Fallout?
I wasn't actually playing Fallout last night, but
And by last night, he means he was playing it at 2 a.m.
Technically, that's today. I'll tell you what. And you're usually so good.
yeah.
So what's happened?
He thinks he can get away with it.
He's just starting to,
Twice.
Essence.
Within a week, right? Did you miss class last week, too?
Did I?
Yeah, within a 7-day period. When we only have classes 5 of those days.
Well, I'd say just take a look at my midterm scores and.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, that's actually a pretty good argument. I mean, Haxton could not make that argument.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing for the fact that I haven't shown up for the previous.
Look, I can defend those scores.
Effort-wise, I'm sure I have a much better.
It's because I haven't been present.
It works.
Yeah. I do have to say, I do have to respect people just being honest and open. So, like, hey, look, I skipped class, got a 0 on the quiz, but midterms are good. Who cares? I appreciate that. I like that.
Yeah,
So that's a star for the day. I might even go back and give you points.
Like 5.
I've done that. I've given Levi points before.
You guys
Just,
created a legacy with those responses.
I mean, just like Levi's responses are just, you can't make that up. Just so legit. Like, yeah, I didn't make it in today. It was diarrhea, fallout, and sleep. Simultaneously. That's recorded. So we're gonna get.
Your ass.
We're gonna get. What we have now? We're gonna have like the sleep quill for the sleep part of it. Pepto Bismol, maybe Imodium. Adult diaper ads.
Maybe just doctor results. You just need to see a doctor.
There's some Cialis ones on there. Cialis might make them go up.
Does your ad history like look for keywords or something?
They say it does. I don't know. I don't look at it. It wouldn't surprise me, but I have no idea. All right, so back to serious stuff here, children. And I'm mostly talking to Hexton.
Okay.
All right, so we certainly wouldn't want to leverage this single table view controller to manage all of our table views we may ever want to bring into existence. Even though technically every single time this number of sections in table view, for example, gets called, he lets us know which table view called him. But there's going to be a point where we're not writing very modular code if we're having one table view controller handling the delegate and data source stuff for a zillion table views. So we're going to want to separate this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to create a manager for those table views. Let's do this. I'm lost. Oh, new file. And it's going to be a Cocoa Touch class, and it's going to be a subclass of UITableView. So UITableViewController, rather, this guy. And let's call this, we want to call this roles TVC. This is a table view controller, which controls a table view of individual roles. Reasonable naming convention. All right, so we'll call this roles TVC. Now I'm actually going to represent this out on our storyboard because that's going to be the easiest way for us to create instances of this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and all the way up top here, I'm going to grab a table view controller, this guy. And we'll go ahead and shrink him down. Have we been doing the 4-inch or 4.7? You sure? Yeah, you're right. Star for the day. Yeah, it is. I just the sizing just it just looks funny because of it's the same size. I'm almost positive. Ooh, wait a minute. Yeah, it is. It's the same size. All right. So, and we're going to say that this guy is actually going to be not a normal UITableView controller. Instead, he's going to be a roles table view controller. All right. Now, just for testing purposes, I'm just going to get us over to this screen for right now so we can kind of test this and make sure that he gets filled up with stuff, and then we'll try dropping it into our other guys. So I'm going to give myself a bar button item. Where are my bar button items? Think you're better than me? That's a button. That's a.
It's below the gestures.
No, thank you. So I'll throw this guy. Oop. Gotta make this guy the. Just say next there for right now. And I'll just control drag over here. We just want to test this, so I want to just have a bunch of random blahs show up right now, just so we know that our table view controller is doing what it's supposed to do. Then we're going to try to do placeholders for these table views over in our other code. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go into our roles TVC, and we're going to choose the number of sections is 1. Number of rows is 5, and then cell for this guy we'll say is cell.textLabel.text is equal to blah. Oh, it's this guy that it wants me to. Okay, so now this guy knows what he should do. We've just backed our table view controller with the visual table view controller with a code behind roles TVC, which should just fill it up with 5 blahs right now. All right, so when I hit that next button, it should take me over to that second screen and show me 5 blahs. Except it won't right now because we didn't use our reuse identifier. So we'll just watch the crash so we see, look, soothsayer. Okay, so we need to go back to our roles TVC. We have to, we'll just name this guy whatever. I'll name it a cell there. But we need to make sure that it matches up here in our prototype cells. So reuse identifier is cell for that guy. Now it'll work. That's how you actually finish linking. That's MVC. All right, so now we have our 5 blahs here. Just proving that that got set up. Now, we actually never intend to visit the screen directly. Okay, that's our kind of our punchline here. We're never actually going to visit this screen directly. Instead, what's going to happen is we're just using this as a placeholder. And I'm going to come up here and we're going to give this guy a storyboard ID. That way we can create instances of him in code. Okay, and we're going to name this guy Roles VC, or Roles TVC, right?
We didn't have to do that with the watch, did we?
Yeah.
The storyboard ID, was it called the same thing?
Well, you didn't have to. I can name this elephant if I want.
No, I know. But like when we were doing the, oh, maybe was it called storyboard ID on the watch side?
I think so.
Okay, I might just
All right, let's.
yeah, that's okay. It's just like
Oh, was it? I thought that was for the row itself.
oh.
No, I think you're actually right. It was called identifier here. Yeah, so the identifier on the watch is equivalent to storyboard ID on the iPhone. Yeah. I wonder why. Why would they just change it? That doesn't seem like it was a necessary change. All right, so this guy now has a storyboard ID. This is Roles TVC. Just make sure this guy still launches. Okay, it doesn't because I undid what I had done before. I was pressing undo a couple times and realized that that was a bad move. Yep, I undone that. All right, make sure it still cooks. Okay, we're good. So now what we want to do is rather than have it go to this screen, now we have a way of creating an instance of our Roles TVC for our other screen. So now what I'm going to do is here is our table view inside here. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take out that dude. And what we're going to do here is I need to disconnect that guy. There's our table view. Let's go into main TVC. I just deleted him. I need to remove that outlet. Oh, we didn't do it as an outlet there. It was in role detail cell, this guy. So we just got rid of this text view. So we no longer have that guy in there. But we are going to want to give ourselves a table view. So actually, I'll steal this. So this guy is going to be a roles detail TV. And he's going to be a UI table view. Okay, so that's what that guy will be. And then we're going to go ahead and hook it up out in our storyboard. So first I need to throw a table view out there for me to connect. Here's our table view. All right. And we're going to have to hook up our data source for that guy, except we're not going to hook it up out here. We're going to have to hook it up programmatically because the data source for this guy is going to be related to an individual instance of our role detail, or what we call it, Roles TVC. So we're going to create an instance of Roles TVC. We're going to let this guy set that instance as being his data source and his delegate, and then we'll package those guys together, and you'll kind of see how this works. Okay, so let's do this. I need to hook up the outlet there. So that is cell. Here's the outlet. Here's our role detail table view, this guy right here. So we'll connect that up. All right, so now that guy's connected and we should now have access to him. So now inside of our main TVC, when we're building our cells, right now what we're doing is we're going ahead and our cell is actually an instance of our role detail cell, which still has a role total label, but no longer has a role details text view. So what we need to do is, so I'm going to go ahead and just comment this out. Actually, let's just dump it for right now. We just want to see if we can get 5 blahs showing up in each one of those guys. So we're going to connect these guys. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say cell dot, we call it role detail TV. So that's the table view. We're going to have to set his, is it just data source? Yeah, we're going to set his data source here, but we need to actually have an instance of something to set as data source. So I'll do that here first. So we're going to go ahead and say let roles TVC, so our TVC equal to storyboard dot instantiate view controller with identifier, and we call this guy roles TVC. Okay, and then we'll say as roles TVC, and then we're going to set our roles detail table view. We're going to set his data source to be equal to our TVC, and we're going to set his delegate equal to RTVC. Okay, so we're actually not going to store our table view controller anywhere. We just kind of brought it into existence. We said that this dude is your code behind. We probably want to store it somewhere, but hopefully this will work as is, because right now we're just going to hopefully get 5 blahs in there. So let's see if that works, or if this guy actually disappears. We might need to save this guy as a pointer inside of our cell. In fact, actually, we should do that. Let's prove that that breaks first. Because I think as soon as this call to this method dies, this thing will disappear. We'll no longer have access to that. Yeah, so we have a table view controller there, but we no longer actually have that code behind. So we need to go ahead and set that. So let's go into role detail cell, this guy. And we want to go ahead and give ourselves a var for, what are you going to call it, roles TVC, RTVC of type roles TVC, and I'll guarantee that we're going to set that. All right, so we have access to that guy now. And then what we'll do is we're going to set that inside of our main TVC. So our cell now knows how to hold on to the roles TVC that is the table view controller for the cell's table view. Otherwise, it's getting reclaimed at the end of this function. When we get to the end of this function, this variable right here is dead. It disappears. Okay? So we'll go ahead and say cell dot RTVC is equal to RTVC. That should preserve it. Then we'll set roles detail table view equal to this. So the data source and the delegate will have that guy as the back. So hopefully now we get blah in all of those. Row. Oh, is it because we already have something in here called cell? That might be it. It might be confusing. Oh, no. This is the problem. Go into our storyboard here. This guy has to have a, that's the table, that's the content view. Here's our table view. We need to give him one prototype cell. And then his prototype cell, we need to have a reuse identifier. So that's this guy. And we're going to call this, let's call this role cell. There. Actually, we should be able to just call it cell. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. So now it has a real name. Now it should be able to DQ that. Oh, look at that sickness. Totally works. Right. Doesn't this look legit like it should look?
I would buy candy skull.
I would buy a candy skull.
Whatever.
Well, whatever they're selling, I'll buy it. I don't care what they're selling. If it's made of candy and has other things, I'll buy it.
You wouldn't buy that candy from me.
All right. So now let's get our actual roles. Now let's get our actual roles embedded into this guy rather than just 5 blahs. Okay? So we currently have our roles stored as, what was it, like a comma delimited string? Oh, I'm just flipping all over the place here. So if we go back into main TVC, this guy right here, the parts at bucket 0, currently has our roles in it, right? So if I just do print the parts at bucket 0 here, we should see what that looks like. I think it's just a bunch of comma delimited numbers. Yep. Actually, it's an array. Is it? Where are we getting that? Okay, so components are, oh, we built it that way. So yeah, that's actually a really horrible way to build it given what we're trying to accomplish here. That's fine. So
It's really horrible. That's fine.
so we're gonna come in. What? Where did we get those things from?
I was thinking the same thing about a candy man.
The road data, so this must be in view data load. Here's our role data. Oh, well, I'm not going to change it, so we're just going to use it. Actually, we can change this. Can we? It's the other guy sent it to this. It sent it to us in this format. Oh, whatever. All right. We're just going to work with it. Okay. So I have stuff that currently is in this format. I really need to convert these guys into an array holding 7, then 17, then 18, then 19. So I can split this on spaces, no harm, no foul. I'm good with that. But I really need to rip the opening and closing square brackets off that thing first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip those off, then I'm going to trim it to get the trailing spaces off, then I'm going to split it on spaces, I'm going to throw it into an array. And then I'm going to let every one of our rows know about, every one of our, what do we call it, role detail cells know about that array. Okay? Because his, let's think about this. Actually, we don't need to let that guy know about, we need to let each instance of roles TVC know about this. So this guy needs to know about an individual array. Well, we'll just do that for now. That's fine. So we'll go ahead and we're going to say var, and this guy's going to be an array of strings for now since we're not using those as actual numbers. So we'll say var the roles is going to be an array of strings Okay, well, I'm not actually going to create it yet. That's just a placeholder. That's why I didn't put the opening and closing parentheses on there. I didn't make it into an empty array that we can add stuff to. I said, here's a variable called the roles. Trust me, he will be a string array. I will make that happen before I use it. Okay? So now what we need to do is we need to let each instance of roles TBC know about that array beforehand. All right, so down here, instead of saying 5, we're going to say self dot, we call it the roles dot count. That's how many rows we have in there. And then down here, instead of saying blah, we're going to say self dot the roles at bucket index path dot row, like that. Okay. So we have that. Now we actually need to set those values. Where do we get those values? We have them here in main TVC. And they're stored inside of the parts at bucket 0, this guy. So it's going to be just nasty. All right, so we're going to say var let's just call it roles is equal to, let's call it roll string. Is equal to the parts at bucket 0 dot substring from index. Actually, don't we have one substring? Do we have a couple of these? Oh, then I have to build a range. That's just stupid. All right, screw that. From index 1, so that'll give me everything except bucket 1. All right. Then I'm going to say dot substring the to index. Oh, man, this is such horrible coding.
Bring yourself to do it.
That's kind of true. All right, so that'll give us everything but bucket 0. That's what that guy will be.
Don't get the from.
Can that convert type int to expected argument of type index? Are you kidding me? Does it really take a string? All right, so these are the various.
I don't think that's what it was asking.
Well, he wants an index as a parameter. That's what this guy takes.
Number?
Returns a new string containing the characters of the string from 1.
So say 1 as index.
Give an index to the end. Yeah, so I have to give it an index.
I would just put 5 in there.
I already tried. I want to just put a 1 in there.
It was a lowercase I think.
That was the variable name.
Oh yeah.
All right, so something needs to be indexable.
Supposedly.
Oh, hold on. I think I looked at this. Dot. Oh my gosh. Swift index. Actually, let's just do Swift string substring. How to use substring with, I don't know, the range as well. Heck, we'll take it if that's the case. Oh, it's string dot index. Ooh, that could actually work pretty well. NS make range. I wasn't going to use them, but that's the one we're going to use now. Substring with range, NS make range, and this guy is going to take in a location 1 and then a length from there, and the length is going to be the parts at bucket 0 dot length dot size. Are you serious? Stupid strings. I can't stand strings in this language now. All right. So characters in that guy dot count is the number of characters minus 1, because I bet you it's not going to be inclusive of the last guy. And then we're going to say print roll string. Let's just see if this is the guy we think he should be. Of type error type.
It's not a good sign.
Oh, it's not an NS range, it's a range. Perfect. I bet you that guy uses those stupid indexes. String.start index. Okay, so we can get. Oh, that's totally dumb. Substring from index. The parts at bucket 0 dot start index dot advance by 1. Then roll string is equal to roll string.
Is that the only way to do substring?
Apparently, yeah, that's how you get indexes. Roll string dot substring to index. What's it called? Roll string dot end index. I bet you it's non-inclusive of that. Print roll string. So hopefully we get something with the square brackets ripped off of it now. Okay, well I get the first one ripped off, not the second one. That's because that's a fatal error because I haven't filled that up yet. That's fine. So let me get the last piece. So it almost worked. So it does include that. So dot. What's the predecessor? The one right before it. Why does it still have the end guy there? Do I have extra spaces? All right, we're going to do this. I want this language to die. Index. Wait, I'm lost. Dot. Can't I trim?
Only takes spaces and white space.
Yeah, I want to get the white space that's off the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Roll string is equal to roll string dot.
Is true with another thing.
Swift string trim.
Wow.
String by trimming characters in set.
Like seriously.
Turn 1 4.
String by
Wow.
trimming characters in set.
Fisher Price.
NS character set dot white space and new line character set.
That's just ridiculous.
Well, I knew Apple users were like push buttons, but come on.
Nailed it. All right. Those guys are gone. So now, let's finish this up. We have plenty of time now. I'm serious. This should be no problem now. So now it's what was it? Cell dot. What do we call it? Did we call it the roles? Oh no! It wasn't in cell. It was in the controller. It's RTVC dot the roles is equal to role string dot components separated by string space. All right, so now that guy should have an array of strings that are all those individual guys in it. There's all our roles. And look.
That would be such a pain.
I think maybe next time we're going to rewrite the string class. I'm only about 5% joking. All right. Well, I was going to give you homework, but I think we've been through a war.
You mean